you got your first client. Or if you haven't, you'll get there eventually, but keep watching till the end because I do have something for you too. That being said, if you have gotten your first client, you should give yourself a pat in the back because the first one is really the hardest one to get. Like seriously, with each new client you get, it will become easier and easier until it becomes essentially automatic. But now that you have this client, how do you make the most out of it? Buckle up and let's find out. So step number 1 is to do a great job. Honestly, this should go without saying, but you should always do a great job to wow your clients and, make them happy with the service that you provided them. But this is especially important on your first client. I mean, obviously you don't want to let them down and make them think that they made a mistake in hiring you, do you? And not only that, but you also want to make sure they have a great experience with you because that will affect everything else we're going to talk about in this video. On that note, the first thing it will affect is your review. You definitely want to make sure that your first client leaves you with a review, but bonus points if it's a great one. This will essentially build trust in your future clients so you can get your second, your third, and your 100th one. And while you obviously can't force them to leave a review, you should definitely make sure you remind them because, like I always say, clients are busy and they may easily forget that. So once you're done with your project, just shoot them a quick message saying, hey, loved working with you on this, and I would really appreciate if you could leave me a review to help me get even more clients. Sweet and simple. Now, another great thing that will help you build more trust and get more clients is a good portfolio. Personally, I always think it's best to reach out to the clients you've worked with and ask them if it's okay for you to use the work you did for them in your portfolio, just in case you don't want to cause any trouble. Now, if they're concerned about the work being shown to the public, you can always offer to anonymize any data that can link it back to them. This may be a little bit difficult if you're doing like logos for someone, but if you're doing something like social media, you can easily create a case study and just say the industry that you worked for and not the name of the brand. For example, I do have this case study for a client I've worked with for the past 2 years, and instead of saying the name of the brand, I say this is a case study for a client I worked with in the wedding industry. That way you can still show your work and the client can be happy and safe as well. Now, before we move on to the next thing you should do, let me know down in the comments what client you would love to work with and why. For me, it's anything related to gaming, as you can probably tell. Now, the next thing you can do is to get your clients to refer you to other people. This will be especially helpful if your client has a good network that they can reach out to. But even if they just have a couple of acquaintances or friends, this can be helpful as well. And again, this is not something you could obviously force them to do, but it's something you can remind them of and even entice them to do. You can send them a message saying something like, hey, I loved working with you. I was wondering if you knew anyone in need of insert service here. If so, I would really appreciate if you could get us connected. And if you really want to go the extra mile, I personally never done this, but I know people who have. You can say, if you refer me to someone in your network, I will give you a 10% discount in your next order. Again, sweet and simple does the trick, but that may just give them the extra push they need to refer you to other people. And of course, the best possible thing you can do is to get your clients to give you more work. If you did a great job in their first project and they liked working with you, you liked working with them, it's a no-brainer to work together again. You can again send them a quick message and just say, I loved working with you on this and let me know if I can ever be of service again. Or you can even go the extra mile again and find a system that you can have in place that you can always keep upselling to your clients. For example, a lot of you may know that I do social media, right? So one of the services I offer a lot is an Instagram audit. So basically in that audit, I let them know what I would do differently in their account. And at the end of the audit, which I present to the client in a PDF format, I always give them options on how they can hire me to work together again. This usually includes an option for having me implement the recommendations that I did in the audit. Usually also an option for a more in-depth strategy. And of course, an option to work together every month to create content for their platform. Obviously, this will vary depending on the service that you offer, but for the most part, I think you can find a way to turn a one-time project into a recurring one or a smaller project into a bigger one. And honestly, that's really where you grow with freelancing, is when you can have clients coming back to you and referring you to other people and all that good stuff. This way you can have more time to grow your business instead of having to worry about finding clients every single time. Now, if you haven't gotten your first client yet, don't worry. Make sure to watch this video right here where I give you tips on how to find them. And I'll see you right there. Bye!